Hi everyone. This is Jim Partridge. I'm a modder and mapper, and I am just going to talk through. I've had a number of people contact me about the videos I've been putting up with an Arctic-y Half-Life 2 feel to it, asking, are you doing episode 3? Are you doing episode 3? And I wanted to just share some of my plans or what I've been thinking with you guys. Just hopefully it will pique people's interest and they'll start tracking and things like that. So, basically, when the Half-Life 2 workshop came out recently, the 20th edition, it occurred to me, it piqued my interest again. I reposted my mods, there were lots of people talking about them, I was excited about it. I was just coming off the back of a really good Left 4 Dead 2 project that I was really happy with. So I thought, well, maybe I should take another look at doing something in the Half-Life 2 space. Um, and it's odd that several years go by and you think, oh, I'm never touching it again because I've been through everything I can do, and then of course you don't know, and then you come back to it and you think again. So and also the other thing that occurred to me at the time, this was true, that there weren't really all of the projects that had tried to do an episode 3 type release. It was only Leon who had actually released anything, and most of the other projects were, either being built in Unreal or something like that, and were just likely not to release anything. Since then, there's been several projects that have come up which have been sort of reignited by the same interest that I've had, I think. Um, and yeah, and it's great to see so much new interest and more content coming out for the game. It's wonderful. So I thought I'd have a crack at it, but with a certain limit on it, and it may never release. It's maybe something that I'm going to explore and see if I can find enough in there for me to be interested in doing that isn't rerunning over old territory that I've done before. So I want to just talk through the overall plan that I had and what I was thinking, and share some of the content. I'll just share some of the work I've been doing. So I did a release for there's a very good level design. There's a guy called Steve Lee, who's a British level designer, worked on Dishonored 2, and he set up his own community of level design people interested in that. And within that, they started doing map jams. And part of that was I sort of chucked in for the first one, and I did a kind of an Arctic-y Half-Life 2 map. And I sort of started out with this image here. It was a big sort of, as if you were inside a glacier, with the uh, the citadel type, pods and bridges and things like that. So I'd already kind of started exploring look and feel. I was using some customized textures and things like that. And so I liked it. It was only a short map, but it just, it was fun. I liked it for a while there. And that's kind of what piqued my interest, was sort of, I like to dabble in something a little bit and see if I like it. And then I might come back to it and invest more if I think it's, if it's worth it. And then Don reminded me over at Run Things Should Live, reminded me that they had done a map jam thing with that, and they had a bunch of assets that they were using. So I took a look at those, and some of those were really nice. And then I was kind of trying to think, okay, well, if I was going to do it, so I went and reviewed the Epistle 3 kind of storyline that was shared a long time ago, by Mark Laidlaw. I didn't really like it, I have to admit. Like, there were things in there about the general structure that I thought was quite good, but overall, a lot of the details of the story I didn't think were really something I was interested in. But there are some expectations when it comes to doing something like this. So I was trying to think of a structure to build around and things like that. So one thing I was really sure on was I didn't want Alex to be the companion through this if I was going to do it, because I've just done, I did Deep Down and Welcome Home and Deeper Down, all of which had Alex as a companion for the majority of the gameplay. And she was, and it limits you to a certain extent as to what you can do with the player, because Alex can only do a certain amount of things. So you're sort of, and it's fun, but anyway, so I wanted to get a way to get rid of Alex. So I started sort of looking at a structure, and I think generally the structure would be that you're coming into it in at the helicopter crash site, And I like the idea of being in a. And I actually already built this site here, built this map. I actually lost a lot of this stuff when I reformatted my laptop a while ago, so I've got to rebuild it all. But the idea is basically you'd start with this. Alex would be kind of passed out maybe, and you're surrounded by kind of heavy snow and fog, so you can't see very far in the distance. And then a combine scanner sort of would come out of the white sort of distance, scan you, and then a combine assault begins, and you're kind of just on your own with a bunch of, like a lot of the arsenal already, and you're sort of fighting to defend. But it's a battle you're ultimately going to lose at the beginning, until a strider turns up, which you've got no way to fight, and sort of fires its main cannon at you. That knocks you out. But in the meantime, I think also what I want the combine to come in close, and for one of them to sort of run to Alex's body and teleport her out. So the idea being that the combine have reached um, the the aperture ship and have learnt the secrets to teleportation, if you like, and have working personal teleporters now. So she's teleported away, so that solves the problem of Alex not being part of that. And then you black out, and when you come to, it's all smoking and ruins and stuff, but all the combine are gone, and you've just been left to die. And then from there, you're then making your way to the Arctic outpost that you were heading for in the first place. And and these things are kind of fluid. So I need a bunch of action between here and there. And so what you've got to think about is things like weapon progression. So am I starting with just the crowbar or gravity gun, or so what kind of gameplay can I have with that? But then you've got to think about the enemies as well. So if I start off with between here and the Arctic research station, there's an antlion colony, right? And I had a whole bunch of stuff that I did around antlions here, and I was thinking maybe the Vortigern, like episode 2, you can have that as him as a companion, sort of fighting through waves of antlions. I did some antlion work here where I changed the colour of them to this blue, this kind of cool Arctic blue colour, and then and this was kind of my very basic concept art, if you like, slamming things together for the Arctic Research Station style, which I really like, because looking at official photography, a lot of these things are modules that sit off of the ground on stilts. So this kind of design works, like, seems to be quite aligned with that, and also feels quite citizen techy. But yeah, lots of sort of caverns and things like that, and then once you kind of get here, there would be a whole bunch of maybe some exposition and story and stuff like that. Now, what I'm also thinking is between here and there, I might also add in a concept that I was working on recently for that I've been playing with. So one of my friends, one thing I wanted was some breakable ice props. Okay, that I got a friend of mine, Rocky, to make, who's very talented modeler, and he wanted some practice at breakable models.
There's DIY.
So he, that's annoying. So I've got an advert there. Let me shut that up. And he wanted to have a go at building out some of these things. So I gave him a bunch of props, gave him a bunch of stats, and said what I wanted, and then he basically was able to build some breakable models, which break like ice and things like that. And so this is great because I've been kind of exploring these ice props to see, well, what gameplay can I build? Can I get out of these great assets that he's built for me? So this is like an ice wall that I can break. It actually has the antlion web over the top of it as a sort of breaking bit. But yeah, so these are some of the ideas that I could have goodies sort of hidden in the ceiling and stuff like that. And I'm still exploring what I can do with these right now. These are still work in progress. Some of these are a bit buggy, but so this was kind of fun, just kind of exploring what I could do with these once I had them. And then I was looking at, well, if I've got these, then what else can I do? Well, ice and snow, that's quite slippery and slidey. Maybe we should go back to the airboat, and then combining that with these ice props. And suddenly I was playing this sort of test map, and I thought, well, this is great. You've got to kind of destroy the icicles before you get there, to be able to sort of keep moving at speed. And I did better on my second run in this video, actually, if I jump through to that. What I realised is you have to conserve your bullet energy here over on the right. And so you sort of small taps, you sort of tap, 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 tap to break them as you move along. So it's actually a sort of the game is, to keep your energy levels or your bullet levels to a point where you can keep moving. Whether there would be like a chopper or it's been done, obviously, the chopper. So although it is great gameplay, so it might be fun. Alternatively, with the gunships or something like that. So, but anyway, I'm thinking that might be a great thing to have between the chopper site and getting to the research station as the sort of first half of it, which is very Half-Life 2. The first half of it is very tied to the airboat, but with sort of stops along the way and things to explore and stuff like that. So it still feels like there's enough fun to be had. You can imagine that sort of half-pipey sluice kind of going up the walls and round corners and things like that on the ice, which seems really fun. I think there's a lot of fun to be had with that. And then enemies wise, I don't know whether antlions bug out if you try and run them over with the airboat. Certain combinations of entities cause crashes. Obviously I don't want Metro Police for that section, because we've done all that before and it wouldn't really be appropriate for this space. So I'd need to find some other kind of enemy or antagonist or something like that. If it's just, we're just driving and there's nothing really sort of attacking you, then that's kind of boring. But what I was thinking is I don't really want to bring the Combine in until the second half of the adventure, which is very episode 2. But the idea is basically the Combine, I think I would probably want them raiding the Arctic research station and attacking it, and then you have to move on from there. So we'll see. So I need to figure out whether I can do antlines with the airboat, and that's not going to cause a problem, or so a bit more testing. Anyway, so consider this Arctic research station the halfway point, I suppose, of the adventure. Once you get here, exposition inside, and then I think I'll have the Combine try and breach it and sort of come in and try and attack. At which point then you would escape into, and I want the Arctic Research Station to be running on geothermal energy from underground, with steam pipes and things like that, and lots of sort of. So sitting underneath it is a series of kind of caverns with piping and stuff like that, like this. So this was kind of my design for it. Lots of pipes and things like that, and with these sort of geothermal vents and things like that coming up. I think I really like the look of the contrast between the reds and the blues here. I thought was really good. It reminded me of Empire Strikes Back at the end of the Empire Strikes Back. That colour scheme, I think, is going to be really fun. Once again, that may be more of a zombie area, I think, but we'll see, just because we will have been with antlines for quite a long time at that point, so I kind of want to swap out for something different. And maybe when the Combine attack, they'll attack with Haidcrack canisters, which will then lead to a zombie outbreak, and that type of thing. So yeah, anyway, that's kind of the idea there. And then once you're through that, then I think I want to get into more of a ice caverns kind of feel. So I was looking at some reference photography of these kind of amazing ice caves in Norway, and sort of glaciers and things like that, and and geothermal plants as well, like this. Some more ice caves, more geothermals, and then looking at tunnels and sort of taking some of the antline tunnel concept, but actually turning them into ice tunnels like this, which are just slippery and slidey and very shiny because of the cube maps and things like that makes them look really cool. So I was playing around with that idea, so I like that. So yeah, you're sort of inside a glacier, I guess is the point, and with lots of shiny ice and stuff, and then with that, and then I was building out some maps. This is some more maps that I built, just sort of trying to explore ice caves and things like that. There's a video on my channel as well about sort of some antline cave ideas I had. But then you're sort of heading into encountering the Combine within this space, which is kind of the video I did around this sort of the idea around, I don't know, a sort of battle with destructible sets, with this type of thing. So and actually having elite combine firing energy balls and things like that, bouncing off the walls and destroying icicles and stuff like that seems kind of fun. So that would be your kind of first major encounter or sort of battle underground with them, and then heading into more of also having this idea of a wall breach here, where you can see the combine through the ice on the other side, and then they set an explosive and blow the wall up and come through. This is kind of one of my original ideas when I asked for these props to be built, was the idea of being able to see something through it and then it sort of exploding and coming closer. Bam, like that. And then through they come. So that kind of thing. And then heading more into that, coming back to that idea of the original level I did, you're then heading into a more combine architecture within the Glacier as you get closer towards your goal, and the goal being that you're actually trying to get Alex back. You're trying to find Alex, and she's been teleported here with others, and the combine are planning to leave Earth. They've stripped it bare. They've got everything they needed from it. They're moving. They're trying to escape and move on. And Alex, ultimately, you find her freer, but she's then hell-bent on revenge for the death of her father, and ultimately you would I don't know, I don't think it's going to end well for her, put it that way, in my version, and whether Gordon survives or not, I don't know. We'll have to see. I'm sure the G-Man won't let him die, but we'll just have to see whether Alex's fate is to finish off the remaining Combine advisors before they're able to escape through the teleporter back to the home world. So that's kind of the ending I want, is like a big sort of citadel, lots of advisors getting destroyed in ugly ways, with Alex sort of really wreaking revenge on them, and then maybe going down with the ship. We don't know. So just some thoughts of that, but yeah, some of the look and feel of that final area there. And then people are like, well, what about the Borealis? And I'm like, I don't want to do a level set in the Borealis. Because it's too cramped, like Valve said, it's just not a great place to have sort of fights and stuff. The only thing I was thinking was maybe having chunks of the Borealis with teleport portals broken into it, so that you're sort of moving through sections of the ship, but those walls are opened up into parts of the glacier, so you're sort of moving between, I don't know, something like that. Or and I also like the idea of bringing in some portal elements, obviously with Aperture Science coming into it, being able to bring in some of the portal technology that or portal elements from the game Portal that we've seen into Half-Life 2, that the Combine are sort of trying to use, or something like that. I don't know, just sort of way of smooshing those two games together towards the end of it, even if it's just from a look and feel perspective. I really like those mechanical panels from Portal. It's like a panel on an arm, and it's sort of each test chamber is made out of a set of panels which reconfigure themselves every time. Whether I can port that ARM model into Episode 2 or not, I don't know. Whether it's too advanced for that, we'd have to see, but something like that. And I've done something similar with that before. In Deeper Down, there were some Combine panels that flip out when you get close to them, so you can tread on them. There was a Leap of Faith where you had to jump down onto one of them and it popped out. That type of thing I think I really like, and would want to do more of that towards the end. So that's kind of the structure of what I want to do. As I keep testing, there may be more new ideas coming into it and new fun to be had along the way, but overall that's kind of what I'm looking at doing. How long it will take, I don't know. Sometimes I work very quickly, sometimes I give up for 6 months and come back to it. So I will keep posting here mainly on the YouTube. I think this is where I'm going to be doing most of my updates. So but if you're interested in joining my Discord and following from there, you're very welcome to join. I'll put a link in the description of the video, and then also if you want to subscribe to my channel, you'll be able to see updates as I'm sort of moving along with the work. But thank you for listening, and I hope this has been interesting for you, and yeah, I will see you on the next update. Thanks.